I need to turn it on.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Sister Hold My Hands. And as you know, we just keep it real raw here. The last series we had with Audrey, where we're talking about abuse after, intimacy after sexual abuse has been so well received. We've had so many feedback. And so many women and men have reached out to say, actually, thank you so much for that conversation. Though I find that from time to time, a number of persons are afraid to literally come forth, we appreciate you being the silent listeners. If you have been watching and not subscribing, please subscribe because you know it goes. Google loves this algorithm. Today, I am so honored to have beside me, in front of me, alongside me, an amazing woman, a woman of my own heart in a lot of ways. When we're trying to figure out some of these itches that we have, we literally had a great, great talk. So I want to introduce to you Jeanie Brooks. Jeanie Brooks is no stranger to these kind of conversations. And so, Jeanie, welcome to the conversation. I'm going to hand you over to tell us who you are. Take it away.
Okay. Thank you for having me, Ava. It's an honor for me to join you today and just to honor what you do, bringing awareness about these taboo type of topics. So I am a child that was born into abuse. So my mother was abused at the age of 14, had me at 15. My father is my great grandfather. And when I was about 6, one of my mother's partners at the time assaulted me by touching over clothing. And then when I was at the age of 12, I was actually abused sexually by one of my mother's other boyfriends to a point that he sexually abused me and groomed me in the process, which, coming from our type of culture, it's not something that was discussed in the household. So I never knew what grooming was and lived with my trauma and was silenced through the after effect and lived with that internalized for 40 plus years. I am a solicitor by trade, and in fact, I practiced criminal defense law for that period of time, and I would have been a advisor supporting perpetrators like my abuser and also my great grandfather, stroke father. Um, I wrote my book called I Am the Shame.
Mm.
After I reached the age of 50, I knew, although I was a fearful achiever, I knew that I wasn't my full authentic self. I wore this mask for all those periods of years. And as a result of that, once I wrote my book, um, it made me empowered to empower others and to liberate myself and to liberate others. And from the incorporation of the book, we started an organization, my eldest daughter and I,
Mm-hmm.
called Self Stoic CIC,
Mm-hmm.
which is an organization, community interest, which supports survivors of this type of abuse and any other type of abuse as well.
I am gonna stop you because
That
I just have
was a lot of
goose
information in that short space of time. Yes.
I've got goosebumps on my hands because I just
Yeah.
listened to you said so much, so I want to unpack it. Everything I
Yes.
came here to ask you was just thrown through the door because you just said so much that I tried to prep for this, but this is just conversation. We don't really quiz
Yes.
them.
Yes. Let's
You,
have this
thank
conversation.
you so much for being so brave. And as somebody who was abused myself multiple times, I know how hard it is for us to talk about it. But the fact that, so first of all, thank you for sharing it and making it permissible for those who are listening, watching, and sitting there on their abuse, being afraid to come forth. Without people like us, many others will not be free. Let me
Yeah.
unpack, Jeanie. Permit me, if you will. You said that your father, your great grandfather is your father.
Yeah.
So let me get that straight. That means your father's father, let me just, your mother's grandfather.
My mother's great grandma, sorry, my mother's grandmother's husband.
Okay, okay, hold on, wait,
So
hold on,
she's a
wait.
grandchild in a household, and the grandfather, or
So your
she's a
mother's
child.
grandfather raped you, raped her to have you.
Yeah,
So
but he wasn't
is
her
that my,
biological
I
grandfather.
know.
He was married to her
Yeah.
grandmother. So it doesn't really matter whether it's
Doesn't
biological or
matter.
not. A child of the family
Is
is a
a
child of the
family.
family.
So your
It's a zero. We don't go there.
so your great grandfather is your father. So your
Yes.
mother's grandfather.
Yes, through marriage.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it doesn't matter. We're not even gonna put the great
Yes. So let's
family.
just take away the
Yeah.
connections. It's what it is. The grandfather interfered with the grandchild
In this country.
in this country. I was born here. It's a lot.
My
And it
mouth
doesn't end
is,
there. It doesn't end there.
I haven't caught up with my mouth yet.
Yeah. So when someone said to me they've read my book, they've said they've had to put the book to one side to do a family tree because
Yes.
it
It
gets deeper
confused me.
than,
I couldn't
yeah,
decipher it myself
yeah.
because so
So
he
if
must
I
have
give,
been old. Was he an old grandfather?
no, he was younger than my great
Grandmother.
grandmother, but still he was a mature man to a
For you as
child
a child.
who was 14 at the time.
You say your mom was 14, got pregnant, had you. Can you help me unpack how this came
Yeah.
out in your family? You'd have been told, right? How
Yeah.
did that come
So,
out in your family?
yeah, not a problem. So, my grandmother came to the UK first. That's my mum's mum.
Mm-hmm.
And she left my mum with her mum in
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, culturally, that's
Yeah,
what
that's what
happened
we
in the
do.
early
Yes.
60s,
Mm-hmm.
late 50s, early 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So she married a man here, and then she sent for my mum and her grandmother to join them here in the UK. So then what
Yes.
happened after that? My grandmother and her husband, they would physically argue. So
Yes.
every time they got into an argument, it was never violent, it was always verbal. So every time
Yes.
they got into an argument, she would leave the house, ship my mum to her mother, which is my mum's grandmother, and then she'd go elsewhere instead of taking my mum with her. So she
Mm.
wasn't very maternal. So my great grandmother grew my mum from a young age in Jamaica. So my great grandmother was technically more or less my mum's
Mm-hmm.
mum.
Mm-hmm.
And then mum didn't speak up, even though when these things were happening, mum didn't
Mm-hmm.
speak up.
Mm.
And so one thing led to another. And every time she left her husband, this is my grandmother,
Yes.
mum would have to change schools and things like that. So rather than
Right.
keep taking her out of school, she said, stay with your nan, stay in school, and then when you finish schooling, we'll resume and the relationship and to move in there.
Wow.
And in that process, that's when all of this came ahead. But there's a twist to it as well.
Wait.
Yeah,
Get the
yeah,
twist
it's
yet.
heavy.
So the lesson I learned here
Hmm.
that parents, not
Hmm.
all the time, but try to keep your children with you, right? Because maybe that would not have happened. And the
No,
other thing was there must have been so much trauma that happened in that whole moving thing and the argument and whatever else. But
yeah.
just the thought that your great grandfather got your mother pregnant and then you were born, I'm curious before I get to the twist, how did that, when that came out to your grandmother or your great grandmother, how was that? Like, how did they know it was him? Was it found out then or later? Was your mother chastised for
Do
having
you,
boyfriend out there when she really didn't? I have not read the book, so I'm
mhm.
curious.
So because I've had to unpack my own trauma as well, there's still little snippets that I have not um got that resource information. So I don't know exactly how and when they found out. But I know from what my mom said is that they told mom to get rid of me, and
That's your
mom
great
said,
grandmother.
not, I don't know which one of them, whether it was great
Okay.
grandmother or grandmother had said, because that this, so yeah, so let me go back.
Back.
So what happened then is, she had the choice of whether she abort the child, the
But
fetus,
let me ask
or
you, Jeannie, did they know
Mhm.
whose child it was then?
Definitely,
So they
definitely,
knew whose child. That's what I
definitely,
want to get to. That
yeah,
great grandmother and
definitely,
grandmother knew who the father was.
yeah. But the man that he was a manipulator, a narcissist. These are things and words and terminologies
In
that we
those days, we
hear
did not know.
today,
Yes.
but back then that wouldn't be seen. And then society in that time as well was what goes on in, a man's home is his
There's
castle. So
don't
even
wash
if
your dirty linen in public. Yes.
yeah, the shame and the stigma, but also the authorities
Yes.
didn't do much in that time either. So when I did my research whilst constructing the book, I found out that there were many records that went to the police station, which was just on down the road on the same street,
Yes.
but they never did anything. So they'd come to the house, he'd talk to them, and then the door would be shut. They'd go on their merry
And
way, and
maybe he
what's
was the
inside?
breadwinner, so everybody's quiet.
Well, and again, in that when I researched that element of it, yes, mostly the women were the homemakers and the men were the breadwinners, as quite rightly as you said. But in our case, my great grandmother, she had a job, she worked as well, so she
Mm,
had her own money. But what I don't know and didn't and
I'm
can't
listening.
say is whether she
Mhm.
gave him she would have to give over her wage package to him or to give him something that I will never know because she's passed and my mum has a lot of blockage to have dealt with her trauma through her own
Mm.
years of that experience. She can remember everything. Um,
Wow.
yeah, but in the midst of all of that,
Hmm.
my father had a child from another relationship who was a child from Jamaica, and that mother had sent my sister, my sibling,
Don't tell me.
who's 10 years my senior, at a young age over to the UK. So in that household, they had lodgers. He had a big house.
Hmm.
So they had lodgers. And also my mum and my sister would have been like siblings type in
Hmm.
that house or of the same
Don't
companionship.
tell me he was swapping the two girls.
Not yet. So this is the twist. So what happened when my mum had me, because I think because he was physically abusive to my great grandmother as well, so they
Hmm.
were fearful of him.
Yes.
So when she had me, she had to leave school, and though I think in her years, in her period, they left school at 15 and not at
Hmm.
16. So obviously at 15, just before turning 15, she's off because
Your
she's
mother?
pregnant with me. So she didn't finish school. And then my nan and her made a pact that if he tried to interfere with her again, they were going to make their escape.
Hmm.
And it happened into the middle of the night. He must have tried something with them, and they made the pact. But remember, my sibling
Hmm.
would have been 10 at the time
Hmm.
when I was born. So she would have been 10 and mum would have been 15. And mum's told me, and I've written it in the book, that on the night they were fleeing, she begged them to take her with them. But
Ah,
they said no, if they took her,
he would
also
come.
me, because she's not their child. She's just a child of the family. So
Mm.
if they even tried to take her to give her refuge, he would have come, and he was that type of character as well, is what they would say, beer faced. He was a
Yes.
very beer-faced man.
Embolden.
Yes, brazen.
Hmm.
And so they fled, and I would have been about 3 months old at that time.
Okay.
So I never knew my mum until I was 6 years old. So my
So your
family
mom didn't
died
come with your nan?
when I was born at 3 months. They left. They left me in the household
With
with
him
my sibling who was 10 at the time
and
to,
your great
and my
grandmother?
father and my father. I'll call him my father rather than great
Hold on. So
grandfather.
you only they only left the two girls and the father?
Yeah. They couldn't take their reason rationale was if they had taken her, even if they'd taken me, the character that he would have come for
But
me
he's an
anyway.
abuser. How do you leave him
Uh,
with a child that he's gonna abuse now?
this is where, even I'm like, yeah. And so when I was 6 years old, my father had abused, I don't know how long he had been abusing my sibling, my sister, who's 10 years
Sexually.
my senior, but he
Sexually.
abused her
Sexually.
and sexually, yeah, yeah. And I remember the day that I had snippets of like he used to be a drinker, and then he'd go to the pub, and then we lived in that our bedroom was in the attic, and so when he'd come from the pub, he'd bring like baby sham or cherry B with cashews and stuff and put them by the gram. And some nights she would have to go downstairs with him, but
What's the
it's only
gram? What's the gram? Sorry.
the radio,
The
the
radio. Guys,
gramophone.
for those of us who don't know what the gram is, yes,
I'm
sorry.
showing my age now.
No, I wasn't born in this country and I don't know what it was.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
like a wireless, it's like a
yeah,
radio,
yeah,
but it's a big like wooden box type
yeah.
of
I know what it is now. Yes.
yeah. So I remember snippets because I've had to go into
So you said he would
therapy.
put it by the gram, like you're
Yeah.
looking to catch a rat. You know, you put in catch a rat, you put the food there, and the rat comes for the food. Is
Or
that
just it would just I don't know whether it's to entice her to drink because of what's going to happen, or
okay?
it was just his mannerism of
But he
bringing back
brought it
some memories
for
to me.
her or for you guys or for himself.
I don't recall having any,
Okay.
but I recall because my memory,
Yes,
I
locks
don't
down
have,
things
yeah,
down. Yep,
it's
I get
very
it.
staggered. I've
Hmm.
had to have therapy and it was the hypnotherapy that I did have
That
that
brought it
made
out.
me have flashbacks and it opened the Pandora box. So
Yes,
I was able to put some of the jigsaw puzzle together.
yes.
Um,
So you tell me about the thing by the grandma. He
So
walks
yeah,
up in
so
there.
so we would be in the room and it's nighttime and we know when he's coming because the light frame and the door.
Yes.
We'd know when he's coming. So my sister would say to me, play the game that we're sleeping. So we'd freeze in the bed together like this. And this time I'm only 6, so it's a game to me, but
Mhm.
not realizing what the process was happening. And she knew, but she'd want me to be, if I think probably if he thought she was sleeping, he may leave her. But there was
Mhm.
sometimes she had to go downstairs with him. But at that time in my child memory, it didn't register what this was.
Yeah, I get that.
Um, and then there was a time when we used to go to school. So I'm going to backtrack a bit because
It's a
this is where
lot.
it's significant. When mum used to be going to school and she was like 5 years younger than mum, he used to like, Nan would have gone already. My great grandmother, I call her Nanny, she would have gone already to work. And
Hmm.
so she would be getting ready for school, and my sister would be getting ready for school. And he'd run my sister to say, carry on and go to school. And my mum used to say, don't leave me, wait for me, let us go to school together, because she
Hmm.
knew what his intentions were.
Hmm.
And she said sometimes he used to drive her out to places like he's going to drive her to school, but then drive her out to places and then have his way
Yeah, that's so
with her.
unfortunate.
Um, so remember, I don't know my mum at all. So all I know in my 2.4 family is my father,
And your sister.
me, and my sister. I
Yes.
didn't even know about a mother or even a grandmother. I did not know until the authorities came. So what had happened one day? So there's a family down the road from us who have loads of children. So my father would send me with them to go to school.
Hmm.
And my sister, when she came from school, would come and pick me up, and then we'd go back to the
Go
house.
home,
The
yeah.
house that we lived in, there were lodgers, but one of the lodgers was a housekeeper as well. So she'd cook for the family, clean for the family. And so I think my sister had kind of like a mother-daughter relationship with
With
her.
her,
But
yes.
this is only me analyzing everything in the long haul. And so this one day she never came to pick me up from school because this was a routine. And he came to pick me up. And I thought, wow, dad's come to pick me up
You're
because to me
happy.
at that age, he's my
Yeah.
hero. I don't
Yeah.
see nothing with him. And I
And
knew it
this
wasn't.
time you didn't know that he had
I
abused your
didn't know
mom.
what, or I didn't know how I
Anything.
came
Yeah.
to be. I didn't know who my mum was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, all I knew was just my father and my sister. And at that age, I didn't have the mentality to know the
To ask that
difference
question, yeah.
of the family dynamics. But my father was very, very strict and very abusive to us as well. But to me, he wasn't abusive in the sense of interfering with me. He never interfered with me.
Yeah.
But what he did do is, like, for an example, my tooth was wobbling the one day. I didn't want to eat my meal. And he just went to the drawer,
And
pulled
yanked it
out the
out.
pliers, and took out my teeth.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
Jamaican thing. That's Jamaican. But I want you to
yeah.
go back to the day when he didn't come, he came to pick you up because I don't want you to lose that.
Yes,
Lose
so
that.
this is where everything, the series of events changed the dynamics of me. So she was late in picking me up. He'd come from work. He came to pick me up. So I was just glad to be my dad's come to pick me up. Change of routine. So we got in the car and we drove to the end of the road. And as we came to the end of the road, he was angry. So he was going to look for her and I'm in the car. And as we got to the end of the road, she came round the corner with a friend, but she'd been at school doing some rehearsal for a play. So he was screaming at her. And her friend, she just went. So they knew the character he was, and it was a friend, so she would know. Probably she probably was a confidant, I don't know. But she hurried away and he told her to get in the car, get in the car. So when we turned the car around, parked up outside the house, he marched her upstairs. And when we got in, the housekeeper, the tenant, she was stood on the, because her room was on the ground floor. So it's a free floor house. And yeah, so he marched her upstairs, and I remember him beating her, beating her, beating her. So I've gone and tried to defend her and jump on his back to say, stop beating her. So he's pulled me off him, put me by the scruff of my clothes and put me outside the door and locked the door. And then the wailing that came from that, I can still hear it like it was yesterday. But at that moment in that time, I didn't know what that wailing was, but I know what it was. He was raping her. And don't forget, we've got lodgers in the house. Nobody did anything. Nobody said anything. Nobody defended her. Nobody defended us. Um, so yes. So with that being said, I don't know when he left the house, but I remember her going downstairs to the lodger's room and then the authorities coming in, white people
How did
coming
they,
into the
who called
house.
them? What happened?
I don't know. I would have said probably the
The na
housekeeper,
or the
the lady.
neighbors?
Yeah, or my sister, I don't know.
Can I pause for a second, Jeannie?
Mm,
Because that was a lot. Like that was
everything's
actually
a
a lot.
lot. It's a
Hold on.
lot.
I'm
There's more.
sorry. No, we're gonna have to do more than one episode of this. So I'm so
Yeah,
sorry that happened because your poor sister was there
yeah.
with people around and nobody defended her because probably nobody knew. But I think the house, do you think the housekeeper knew?
They all knew. They all knew because that housekeeper became my sister's guardian. Because after that, when the authorities came, we were taken into care.
So what happened to him?
Nothing. He lived out his days.
How?
He lived out his days.
How?
Nobody did anything. And
That's injustice.
because, yeah, nobody did anything. Nobody reported nothing. The authorities
So
knew,
when the
but
authorities came, what did they come to just take the children? But why?
they
Why
took the
did they?
children out the house. They took
You
us
should,
out the house. They
you
took
should.
us to emergency foster care. And then from there, he found us. He found us in that emergency foster care, the foster carer's home. He turned up at the house. And my sister had my mouth covered at the top of the stairs. And you could hear him saying, I just want to see my children. I just want to see my children. And then after that, I don't even know when they transported us to a care home. But we went to a care home and we were in a care home together. In the totality, I was in two homes, and in the totality of two homes, we sorry, in the totality of 6 months, we were in two homes. The first home we were in together, um, and then she left, and I happened to catch her leave packing because I'd fell over in the
Your sister
grounds.
was leaving.
My sister was leaving the care because she was 16, remember?
Oh,
So
yes.
she would have been classed as able to have independent living. But apparently she left and went to, and her and the housekeeper left together, and then they moved to the States. But
The
with my
US,
with to the States,
the Americas,
the America. And in that moment, my sister was pregnant, but she didn't keep the child.
for your father.
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
just sit in that for a moment because
Sit in the moment. Sit in the moment. I've had to sit in that moment.
that's a lot.
There's more.
There are so many things I want to ask you.
Yes.
I just want you to tell me what happened to you and how you got out of foster care. And
How
I
did I
want,
get out of foster care?
yeah, like when did you get to
Okay.
know your mother? So you're in foster
Yes.
care. What happened to you? How long were you there for? What age are
So
you
in
then?
totality, in both homes, I'd say no more than 6 months. But those six
How old
months,
were you at that
6 years old. And
6
in those 6 months, changed the of my whole
trajectory?
life.
Yeah. What happened? Talk us through what happened.
So my sister left that home, and not because with trauma, a lot of things gets blocked. So I don't know when we were transported to the first home. I
Hmm.
don't know how I was transported to the second home because we separated from the first home in 1976, and I've never blessed my eyes on my sister again since
I was about to ask you, 50 years
1976.
later, you've not heard from her, not nothing.
She came back to the UK on 2 occasions, and she's engaged with my mother, but she won't engage with me. And, trauma can have triggers. So I feel if she has any engagement with me, I will be her trigger. Um,
Hmm.
so when I was younger, up say 13, she first came back. And so let
Hold
me
on. Don't
pause
go,
there for a
no,
minute
don't go there
and go
yet. Don't
back.
go there yet.
Yeah, let me go
You're six
back.
years old.
6 years
When did
old
you
in
leave the care home and where did you
Still, it's
go?
still at the age of 6. So during my 6 to 7 years of age, I was in the care services in 2 homes. The first home, as I said, was with my sister. When she left, I don't know when I went to another home, but I was just that traumatized me.
Why is
My
that?
hair,
What happened?
because for black, we have to use grease in our hair. They used water. My hair, I looked like a boy. I was made to eat food that I had vomited up because I didn't like the food. It was like rhubarb and custard. And even to this day, if you put rhubarb in front of me,
You wanna
I
yolk,
can
yeah,
produce it in a
yeah.
produce, but I cannot eat it because
Mm,
it brings me right back to that moment.
I
And I've sat
understand.
in that dining area with the children, laughing, sniggering. Some are like want to be sick themselves because they can see me being sick, but the carers, what we had to call them, auntie and uncle, were very, very um what's the word I can use? They were they they didn't take care of me. They
Mm.
didn't take care of
They were
me. And
negligent.
those are the two main traumatic periods in that small segment of time in the home that I carried for years.
I want to hold that thought, Jeannie. Guys, this is Sister Hold My Hand. I'm with Jeanie Brooks. And let me tell you something, we haven't even tapped the surface of this. So I'm going to cut this episode and I'm going to come back. And I hope you join us on the next one. Please tag, share. You may be sitting in your own trauma right now. Something has bothered you, something is bothering you, something if affected you, something is affecting you, something's affecting somebody you know. If you want to have the conversation, let's talk at Sister Hold My Hand. Drop us an email, comment below, inbox us, and we will be so happy to help to tell your story.